consequence. The government tells you, speed kills, but people will do their own thing anyway. So here, the issue is, again, I go back to enforcement. The old school of thought. Where is the enforcement? Speed may kill, but you have to enforce it. If you don't enforce it, actually reducing speed may cause more deaths than before. Here you go. Go back to Volvo here. Only a week or 2 weeks ago, Volvo decided to declare that it will limit the speed on all of its cars as of 2020 to 180 kilometers per hour. This is very commendable. I'm just wondering why it took them so long, because I have been driving for over 40 years, and never in my life I drove at the speed of 180 kilometers per hour. In other words, what does this mean? Okay? So there's the bigger question. Why do we need vehicles with engines that can power our vehicles at 200, 250 kilometers per hour? Or even 180 kilometers per hour? Who needs a vehicle like this? If speed kills, maybe you should have vehicles that do not go faster than 130 kilometers per hour. Okay, moving on to the last one. It's an infrastructure here. It's another element of the Swedish foundation here. So in Sweden, when roads are built or renovated, it's safety which is priority, not the convenience or the speed of the traffic flows. Okay, this is again very revolutionary type of idea. And again, example from the United Kingdom again, because they tend to, as being an island, they tend to do things differently. So here you go. Here you have the exact opposite. The United Kingdom, by the way, is the #1 in the European Union, okay, when it comes to road safety. What they do is they're not dealing with road safety anymore. They're dealing with congestion. They flip the equation upside down. Okay? So what they're doing is they're turning shoulders, which are safety spaces, okay, into lanes. Okay, and they call it smart motorways. So the point of this story is that it doesn't matter whether you say Vision Zero, okay, whether you use it as a slogan, whether you do it exactly the way it was done in Sweden, okay, or in a different way. It is important to have a vision. That's number one. And that vision, whether it's Vision Zero or Vision 1, has to be part of some kind of logical, consistent framework for you, for your country, for your region, for your town, city, to actually undertake actions to lower the number of fatalities. This is what is important. The Vision Zero is not important. If it helps you in a promotional type of way, use it. But it's not really important. What is important? Important is to have a framework, a plan which is consistent, which allows you to take the numbers down from whatever, 100 to 5. That's what's important. So here you go. This came out last Friday here. So this is the ranking of the fatalities per million in the EU. So here in the UK #1, Sweden an excellent position, I think 1 to 6. I think very, very respectable numbers. So Spain has done tremendous work on improving road safety. But if you look, I go back to Sweden here. You see, Sweden is not really doing as well as it did. Vision Zero is not part of this regress. It must be something else. But the point is that to make progress, you have to have a plan. So actually, in Sweden, according to the data published last Friday, the number of deaths went up by 28% between 2018 and 2017. So now, the linkage between technology and road fatalities. The question, will technology lead to zero road fatalities? So the answer here, it depends. The answer to this question is depends. What does it depend on? Well, it depends on the type of technology, type of the vehicle, type of the user. So the question is, what is it and where it goes? Okay. The other question is the benefit-cost ratio. So again, it's not the engineering approach that determines this. It doesn't matter whether you can or you cannot do something. The question is whether it actually is beneficial for you to do it or not. There's an example here which, in my view, shows you clearly that the new technology is not beneficial. So here I'm talking about electric bikes. Electric bikes actually allow people who are quite old to continue biking. So I don't know what the natural limit for biking is. I don't know, 65 or 70, okay? And that was a natural thing, that if you are 65 and you cannot actually bike, because you fall or you cannot pedal, whatever, okay? And that your body would tell you, you cannot bike, you have to do something else. But you put the electric engine on a bicycle, okay? And this limit goes up to whatever, but the ability of all people to actually do it properly is still limited. So in the Netherlands, people continue using these bikes, older people, and they fall on their faces and they crack their skulls. And it's a terrible type of data that you can see. So here you have clearly a mismatch between your objective of road safety, and this is driven by this idea, it's healthy, it's good for the environment, so you bike. So you bike if you're old, and very often that you fall, and then there's a big problem. And the final question is the scope of your question. So, is it in Spain? Is it in the European Union or in the world? So let me go quickly here. So go back to the European Union. The question is, why is the European Union doing this? Well, if you look at the chart here, you can see here that between 2001 and 2011, you could see the continuous fall in the number of fatalities in the EU. Okay, after a while, in the last 8-9 years, the line is very, very flat. This is the reason why we're talking about technology, because there's need to actually do something about this flat line, and people in Brussels are reacting to the data. The data is not showing any improvement, while you're supposed to meet the 50% target by 2020, and obviously this is not happening. Another reason why it actually makes sense for the EU to be promoting technology or embedding technology in vehicles to improve road safety is the fact that if you look at the data from the EU, these are the fatalities by transport mode, you can see that almost 50% of people they die in vehicles. Okay, so it makes sense. If you have technology that you think that actually helps you improve road safety in a vehicle, and 50% of your victims relate to driving a car, this is area where you want to be. Okay, so that makes perfect sense. So here you go. You have some. I'll show you that it started before 2006. I just copied some data for you. This is the cost-benefit assessment of vehicle safety technologies. In yellow here, you have the numbers. I don't know if you can see this, but the first one is the seatbelt reminders. This is the benefit-cost ratio of 7. And if you look at the bottom, equal, it's between 0.4 to 2. If you look at the tire pressure monitoring system, it's almost 0. Okay? And someone mentioned tires in the morning. So actually, according to this study, they have no benefit. Okay? Here. Here you go, another study. This is the one from last month. It's the same story. And again, this was mentioned here that the European Union is proceeding with the amendment proposals to incorporate the different types of vehicle technologies into vehicles. Now the question is, well, will this help? Okay. Well, I don't know the numbers, okay, but I looked up the numbers as published by the European Union, and it says right here that if you equip vehicles with all these new technologies here, which are listed, okay, 25,000 lives will be saved in 16 years. That gives you average of 1.6 thousand lives saved per year. Okay? This is about 6% of today's casualties here. So all of these technologies, all of this legislation is estimated to produce 6% benefits in terms of lives saved. So this is the last. I just need 1 minute. So this was the view from the European Union, or from the regional view here. Now I want to give you a view in 1 minute, a global view here. So every 2 years, WHO, World Health Organization, produces this statistical compendium on road safety in the world. And if you look at the data, you can see something very interesting. If you break down all the countries into high income, middle income, and low income, you can see here that low-income countries have 1% of vehicles, but they produce 13% of deaths in the world. The same with middle-income countries, 59 vehicles, 80% of deaths. So you can see here that there's a disproportion here. Okay, what does this mean? Okay, so Should these countries employ technology to get better? Okay? And my answer to this question would be no. They should not do this. And the reason for this is that if you look at more data here, so this is a data I picked from Southeast Asia here, from the same source. So you can see here, oops, you can see here that in Southeast Asia, as well as in Western Asia here, you have 16 and 22% of casualties linked to vehicles. Okay? The rest is powered two-wheelers, pedestrians, cyclists, and whatnot. So in this case, if you want to improve global road safety, okay, technology is not the way to go, because people outside of Europe don't die in cars. They die walking, they die cycling, they die motorcycling. So the key answer here is governance, and I go back to this, and this applies also to Europe. Okay? Governance is the answer to road safety. It's not technology. Technology is only one small element of the whole governance, and then if you work on governance, then you will get the big systemic type of improvements. So here it is. For example, the answer to Southeast Asia, Vietnam, Thailand, Cambodia, Indonesia, the answer is not technology. The answer is using a proper helmet. Okay, this is the Regulation 22 helmet, vis-a-vis a helmet which you very often see when you go on holidays to Southeast Asia. So technology is too sophisticated. You have much cheaper, much more effective instruments at your disposal, and they are part of what we would call governance in general. So I don't have time to speak about this is my last slide. I don't have time to speak about the autonomous vehicles and the difference between what you see in Europe, which is not leading towards automated solutions or fully automated solutions. And this is not where Europe is going. Europe is going into embedding more and more technology into the existing vehicles. So that's why you see CDs, you will see television sets, you will see big screens, you will see all kinds of technology which is not really related to safety, but it's related to providing you a greater comfort and greater connectivity with your friends, with your family, with your home, with your office. Okay? Cars in Europe are being turned into homes or offices because of congestion and not because of safety. Okay? On the other side, what we have is we have full automation, okay, which really relates to convenience, effectiveness, and safety, but this is not being done to a great extent by the conventional manufacturers. So now, what will the future bring? So here, 100 years ago, you could see advertisements such as this: get rid of your horse. The carts are no longer in fashion. What you need is you need a motor vehicle. Okay, as you can see here, motor is simple and powerful, no other, because the horses produce a lot of manure. Okay, so if you went to London or to New York City, the cities were flooded with manure. So it's a real problem. So here you go. So you have 100 years ago, people or the manufacturer were telling the public, switch from horses to motor vehicles, okay? Because your problems will disappear. Okay? And what happened was that now we have motor vehicles, and we have thousands, millions of motor vehicles, but the problems may not be the same as with the horses, but the problems and challenges remain. The same thing will happen with automation and with what you call autonomous vehicles or fully automated vehicles, driverless vehicles. They will come, maybe not next year, maybe not in 5 years. They will come, they will be here, and they will bring a new set of challenges and issues for all of us as road users, as well as the regulators. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Nowak. Just 2 questions, please. In Spanish,